Brand deals really are the original influencer income stream. They're pretty much how this whole industry began in the first place. Even for someone like me who's been a creator for over a decade, brand deals still prove to be the bread and butter of my business and one of my largest income streams each year. But how do you land paid brand deals? How do you reach out to a brand to let them know that you're interested in partnering together? Well, you're in the right place because I'm answering those questions and more in today's video. First, let's talk about why reaching out to brands is so important. The bottom line here is this space is getting crowded. In an article from the end of 2023 in the Washington Post, they reported that now more than 50 million people consider themselves creators. So if you've been in the game for a while, maybe you have started to notice that you're not getting as many inbound brand offers as you once were, and there are almost crickets chirping in your inbox. Or maybe you're a newer content creator who is just now taking their first steps to monetizing through paid brand deals. Just like in dating, it's important to make an effort and put your best foot forward to increase the likelihood that you'll find a partner that checks all of the boxes of what you're looking for. In this case, that they're a good fit for your audience, that they pay on time, and whatever else you consider to be important when working with a brand. Also, similarly to dating, you want to make sure you respect and understand the stages of getting to know someone. In the same way that it would be pretty weird if someone proposed to you on the first date, it would probably be similarly strange for you to reach out to a brand and send them a whole detailed pitch about what you love about them and how you want to work together when you've never so much as tagged them in an Instagram story or sent them a DM. Now, I'm going to be using some business terms and more specifically sales terms throughout this video to help give you some context about which stage you're at with different brands that you're thinking about approaching for a partnership. These will help give you a strategy of exactly what to do depending on the current state of your relationship. Because at the end of the day, as a content creator, you are selling yourself, and it's also up to you to close the deal. So let's break this down and go ahead and talk about cold leads, warm leads, and hot leads. Starting out with a cold lead, this is a brand or a contact at a brand who maybe just is, first of all, not aware of your existence yet, or maybe they have some idea who you are, they've seen your username floating around, but they don't really have a sense of exactly what you create and also what makes you different from all of the other creators out there. Remember, if there are more than 50 million people who identify as creators now, highlighting what makes you unique is going to be a huge help if you're going to stand out with everyone else who might be trying to get this particular brand's attention. So to give you an example of a cold lead, let's say that you are a beauty content creator and there is a skincare brand out there that you have never tested, never tried, but you've tried similar ones and you feel like that skincare brand could be a good fit to share with your audience. So what do you do with a cold lead? Well, not to keep using dating metaphors, but it is a little bit like the beginning of a conversation with someone that you've matched with on Hinge, or maybe even someone who you've met at an event. With a cold lead, it's a great idea to make sure that you introduce yourself to the brand and communicate your value in the shortest and most efficient way possible. And this can probably be accomplished either in a very short email or even through an Instagram DM with the brand's official account. I recommend introducing yourself, saying that you've seen a lot of the brand lately and you're interested in following along and keeping up with them, and also sharing your mission statement or your unique value proposition as a content creator in no more than 2 to 3 sentences to really keep it short. Now, if you don't have a creator mission statement or a short 2 to 3 sentence summary of exactly who you are and what value you bring to the table, I would highly suggest downloading my free guide, The Influencer Launchpad, because there are some quizzes and prompts inside there that will help you craft this statement. Once you have this, you can use it on your website, even in your bios on social media platforms, and in these intro emails to reinforce reinforce your brand identity online. So you can go ahead and grab that free guide from the link down below in the description box. So the best way to get a cold lead excited about you is to say hi, state your interest, state your value, and if you haven't DM'd them through Instagram, be sure to link your primary social media platform in the intro email that you send. Now that you've initiated that first outreach, it won't seem totally out of the blue when you reach out again. And you will definitely be reaching out again after you send that first email. And that brings us to warm leads. Now, the sales definition of a warm lead is someone who has expressed interest in your brand, but isn't really ready to buy yet. Now, instead of thinking of this as a sales team would think of potential customers, we're going to think of this as it relates to brand representatives who work for the companies that we're interested in collaborating with. So think of this in the way of anything a brand can do to show they're interested in you without actually paying you. This could be anything from reposting your content on their Instagram story to gifting you products, adding you to their PR list, or inviting you to virtual events or in-person events. To give you another example here, let's say that you are a food content creator and you share lots of recipe videos on your channels. Maybe there is a cookware brand who has gifted you a set of pots and pans that you use in your content, and maybe they also have invited you to a Zoom call where they're showcasing their newest collection. So what can you do with a warm lead? Keep showing your interests. You can make an effort to test products if they send them to you and create organic content about those products, or even offer to give them feedback, let them know what you're thinking about them. Definitely be sure to attend events if you are able to. If the brand has gone out of their way to invite you to an event, or if you can't make it, be sure to respond very promptly and let them know that you're not going to be able to make it, but to keep you in mind for anything else in the future. Continue to make an effort here. See if you can hop on a get to know you call and ask them thoughtful questions. Ask them, what do you look for in potential partners? How often are you working with influencers? Do you source influencers directly, or do you work with a platform like Aspire where influencers can apply to campaigns? Ask these questions now because it's going to help you in the next step, and make sure that you write down everything that the brand rep tells you. You can even create a Google Doc for each conversation that you're able to have with a brand, or put it in a tab inside of Notion or Asana if you use a project manager like that. Just make sure that you keep a record of everything they say so you can reference that later on. I think a great way to get a warm lead excited is to show them a similar example of content that you've created for a similar type of brand. To go back to our example of a beauty content creator who is interested in working with a skincare brand that they haven't previously used or collaborated with, you could show that skincare brand an example of a Get Unready With Me reel that you've created, showcasing your skincare routine so they can get a sense of where you film your videos, what your typical video actually looks like, and they can start to envision what that content would look like if their products were featured in it. And bonus points if any of these videos were sponsored by other brands, because that shows that people are willing to pay you for your work. And that brings us finally to the hot lead. This is a brand partner who has been nurtured and now they're highly interested and they are wanting to pay you at some point to create content. So if you are a luxury fashion content creator, maybe this is a brand that has personally invited you to their New York Fashion Week presentation and dressed you, or maybe gifted you a high value item in the past. Maybe a brand that you have gone on a trip with, or a PR rep who you now basically have quarterly lunch catch-up scheduled with because you get along so well. All of these things could qualify a hot lead. So what do you want to do with a hot lead who already really likes you and sees value in you? You want to give them a pitch that they can't say no to. They know who you are, they see your value. All they need is something that aligns with their current goals and objectives, and that you are able to execute better than anyone else they could potentially be working with. I personally feel like the best way to get a hot lead excited is to show them examples of content you've already created using their products, and not just that, but really dive into the analytics of those posts. I'm talking comments. likes, I'm talking saves, I'm talking shares, I'm talking DM replies, I'm talking any link clicks from your Instagram stories, anything that shows interest from your audience and even better conversion and action taken based on your content is something that is really going to help seal the deal, especially for someone who already really sees value in you and was just looking for something to kind of tip it over the edge. If you can show them that your audience is really interested in this brand and they're clicking on your links and bringing in engagement, it almost looks like a mini case study, which will give a brand even more reason to want to invest in you if they already have some sense that they will see a return on that investment. Let's recap those three things, and then I want to talk about exactly how to get in contact with these brands. So if you have a cold lead, you are in the very early stages of communicating with that brand. So tag them in your Instagram stories, send them a DM to say hi, and send them an intro email to let them know who you are and what you're all about. For warm leads, make sure that you keep them warm. Make an effort to attend events that you're invited to, test products if they offer to send them, and keep them up to date on what you're working on and the type of content that you're currently creating. This is a great way to plant the seeds so that they might want to work with you more in the future. And if you've got a hot lead that has already shown you interest, it's a great time to put together a pitch and see what happens. Now, when it comes to getting in touch with these brands, who exactly are you reaching out to? Most brands these days have a designated influencer liaison or contact. This is called different things at different companies, but some variations of this title that you might see include things like influencer marketing manager, influencer coordinator, community manager, and anything else that kind of suggests that they're working with content creators and influencers on social media. Now, in an ideal world, I always feel like communicating with a brand via email is the way to go. I personally feel like email is much easier to sort through and to mark unread if you need to take a minute to reply to it compared to Instagram DMs, and it just feels more business-like and more formal to communicate via email. So in an ideal world, that is how I would recommend getting in touch with any brand that you're interested in potentially partnering with. Another thing that's becoming more common with brands is that they'll actually list a contact email specifically for influencers on their website. So if you scroll down to their about page or contact page, sometimes the press page, you might be able to find an email that influencers specifically can reach out to introduce themselves to the brand. This is a great place to start, and hopefully that email will get passed off to a person who is the official contact for influencers. You can also search brand name plus the word influencer on LinkedIn to see if any people come up who are in that particular role where they work with influencers for the company that you're interested in reaching out to. Now, it's very rare that they actually list their contact information on LinkedIn, but once you have the name of the contact you're looking for, you can go to Google and search that person's name and company email and see if anything else comes up. Sometimes you're able to guess an email format from this. It could be firstname@brand.com or firstname.lastname@brand.com. So you might be able to find an email format, at least for the company, that you're able to try sending a message to. If you've looked on the brand website and you've looked on LinkedIn and you can't find a contact email, then I do think it's okay to head over to your Instagram DMs, message the official brand account, look for the blue check mark to make sure it is the official account of that brand, and simply send them a message and say, "Hi, my name is Austen. I'm a fashion and beauty content creator, and I'm really interested in this brand. Do you happen to have a contact for someone on the influencer marketing team who I can reach out to just to say hi and introduce myself?" And most brands now do have social media managers, so there's a pretty high likelihood that you'll at least get a response to this and hopefully point you more in the right direction of the contact that you're looking for. I hope you found today's video helpful. Don't forget to download your free copy of the Influencer Launchpad, where you'll find tips for how to craft your mission statement and understand your why as an an influencer to help you land more paid brand deals. And if you have a hot lead in mind that you are ready to pitch, be sure to check out the up next recommendation on the screen for everything that I recommend including in a good pitch email. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.